The Faith Check has an excellent series called DDOJ, or Daily Doses of Jesus, in which he displays some of the obnoxious Facebook posts that he observes and asks people to comment on how they might respond. The Faith Check has also asked his subscribers to make DDOJ videos of their own, so I would like to examine a post I saw a couple months ago from one of my old high school acquaintances.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I grew up saying this every morning in school. It's a shame we no longer do that for fear of offending someone. Now, let's see how many Americans will repost and not care about offending anyone.
Now, to give a little perspective from whence this post has come, I grew up in a pretty affluent suburb of Atlanta. I've known Brandy since junior high, and her white, upper-middle-class Republican Christian parents fulfilled her every need. It is safe to assume Brandy knows nothing about oppression, racism, or discrimination, and evidently couldn't really give a shit about offending anyone with the pledge. Keep this in mind while I read the responses to this post, and then I will show you what I actually wrote.
Amen.
It's ridiculous that we don't do this anymore. If somebody's offended by the pledge, then don't say it. The main issue, in my opinion, is that it says one nation under God. Therefore, people get offended. I'm so sick of people getting offended. If you're offended by this, then guess what? I don't care. Be offended and bring back the pledge.
Hey, if you don't like America, then you can get out.
I don't get it. Every piece of money has in God we trust. Those idiots can spend American dollars, not bitch about it, but when we actually have to say something pertaining to God, oh my gosh, let's make a big deal about it. This country was based on Christianity. If you don't like it, get your ass on a plane and go the hell away. Or get on your raft and paddle your ass back home.
If you don't like America, why don't you get out?
Really? It's so hard for me to take this seriously, but the scary thing is, these are the people that are living around me. I am so fucking embarrassed these people call themselves Americans. They're just playing right into the stereotype of the fat, ignorant American that doesn't even have their passport. The next post reads,
The founding fathers would roll over in their graves if they were to catch a glimpse of some of the crap that's going on in the name of separation of church and state. What's next? Our nation was founded on the direction of God. Period. I'm so sick of all the politically correct BS that we now have to endure nowadays. Glenn Beck has a great video about this.
I agree, and repost.
When I first read through these comments, I could feel a rage coming on, and I was ready to put these dumbass hicks in their place. However, I took an approach that was not based on the inclusion of God, but rather I attacked the pledge for its overall content. I wrote, with liberty and justice for all, except for homosexuals, right? The next day I checked back, expecting to engage in a nice little debate and school these idiots.
Oh, you think so? Bring the shizzle. We'll trizzle the shizzle all over the hizzle.
But there was no additional comments, and no one even deleted my post, so I figured I'd shut them the fuck up and left the thread alone. My problem with the Pledge of Allegiance is not that it contains the word God, but rather it is a false pledge and has no meaning. The phrase, with liberty and justice for all, implies that everyone in the United States of America is protected, and their liberties are preserved. But that's certainly not the case, now and throughout history. Gays and lesbians are continually discriminated against, and prevented from enjoying the same rights and liberties as all other tax-paying American citizens. We also have the Patriot Act, which totally destroys every single one of our supposed liberties. These same Americans that spout such vitriol against those who might be offended by the pledge are themselves hypersensitive about any issue that does not promote their Christian ideology. Just take the Ground Zero Mosque, for example. How many Christians do you think got offended by that issue? But everyone else just needs to suck it up when it comes to being offended about God and the pledge? To be honest, I couldn't care less if God appears in the pledge. What I find offensive is the notion that everyone has liberty and justice. Did the Native Americans have liberty and justice when we seized their lands and committed genocide against them, until they had nothing left or there was nothing left of them at all? What about black people during segregation? Were they extended liberty and justice when they were forced to use separate facilities and had dogs and fire hoses turned on them when they were protesting for equal rights? Now, please don't take my remarks to mean I hate America or other Americans. I love this country, and it's difficult to reflect on America's past and present. I, more than anyone, understand that not all Americans are fat, lazy dumbasses. In fact, a few years ago, I traveled around the world, and on several occasions I had to defend Americans from the negative stereotype that we just saw in these Facebook posts. The problem with many Americans is that they are overly proud to be American. Now, I'm not saying that there's something wrong with being proud of who you are or where you come from, but Americans are obsessed with nationalism, flying American flags whenever possible, and even pledging their allegiance to the flag. If you step back for a moment and look at it objectively, it's actually a very bizarre practice. Can anyone think of another group that pledged its allegiance and was obsessed with nationalism? In closing, I am proud to be American, and I have an undying gratitude for all the soldiers that gave their lives for the preservation of freedom. However, we are not innocent. America is stained in blood, and if we really think everyone in this country experiences the same level of liberty and justice, then they need to pull their head out of their ass. Pledging your allegiance to a flag or a country is an archaic practice, and in the extreme, it can lead to a loss of personal identity. Blindly pledging allegiance to a country that could potentially take away all your liberties is a terrifying notion, the results of which are by no means far from the imagination. Our country is not always good, and does not always act in the best interests of its citizens. It is better to pledge your allegiance to your friends and family, and remain a proud citizen of a country for the simple fact that it is your place of birth or your preferred place to live. Pledging your allegiance to a country for any other reason is dangerous and could potentially lead to disaster. Well, that's just my opinion about the pledge and American nationalism. So, how would you have responded to this Facebook post? Please leave your responses in the comment section below. And if you get a chance, please take a look at the other videos in the Daily Doses of Jesus series from the Faith Check channel. Thanks a lot, and take care.